Now, following with our review in section 1b, we have seen the simple present and for the affirmative, negative, and interrogative forms, and also for some short answers that we may apply for the simple present. If you remember the affirmative form, we said that for the third person, he, she, it, we might apply a specific rule saying that we have to add the s to the verbs for the third person. We will later check some more specific rules for the third person as well. If you remember also for negatives, we said that we have to use an auxiliary, mainly do and does, which in the negative forms remain as don't and doesn't. Here also we have to do something special for the third person. That's it, that we have to change the auxiliary into does only for he, she, and it. For questions, we have to follow the same word order that we have seen in the previous slide or in the previous video, where we follow the main word order for question. That's it, the auxiliary, the subject, and the verb. Please remember that the verb has to remain in the base form as we have seen previously. Also here for the third person, we have to use the auxiliary does into the questions with verbs different from the verb be. And here we have seen also some short answers like we might use for the previous questions. ¿Okay? Entonces, para el presente simple nosotros podemos aplicar la regla principal en que el verbo, ¿cierto?, principal, le agregamos una S para los sujetos o para los pronombres he, she, and it. Como regla general, vamos a ver luego algunas reglas específicas para estos verbos en el presente simple, en la forma afirmativa. Solo estamos refiriéndonos a la forma afirmativa. Para la forma negativa, si recuerdan, teníamos que utilizar un auxiliar. Ese auxiliar era el do o el does, y que en su forma negativa queda como don't y doesn't, sabiendo que doesn't solamente lo ocupamos con he, she, and it. Y para la forma interrogativa, ¿cierto?, utilizamos el orden de preguntas que ya hemos visto, es decir, auxiliar, sujeto y el verbo. Recordando que el verbo se mantiene en la forma base y también que el auxiliar cambia, al igual que en la negación, cambia en la tercera persona. Auxiliar, sujeto y verbo. El sujeto obviamente puede ser un pronombre o puede ser el nombre de la persona o lo que queramos utilizar como sujeto. Okay? Now, we said that we will check also some of the specific rules that we may apply for the third person, saying that we mainly have to add the S for the base form of the verb, as we have with the example of the verb work, it works in the third person. But also we will have to check that for verbs ending with a consonant and Y, like in that example of the verb study, we have to change the third person into studies. So we replace the Y by that ending that we have here. For those verbs ending with CH, C, D, SH, S, and Z, and also with X, we have to add ES in the third person. Okay? For all these endings that we have here, like in the example with the verb finish, with finishes with SH, we have to add ES in the third person. For some irregular verbs like go, do, and have, if you notice, we have to change the verb into the ones that we have seen, that we have here in this list, and also that the verb have, as it is irregular, changes into that form. Okay. Entonces, para la tercera persona, ¿cierto?, sabemos que tenemos que agregar la letra S en la mayoría de los casos, pero también sabemos que tenemos que fijarnos en algunos casos particulares, como por ejemplo los verbos que terminan en consonante Y, le cambiamos el final de esta forma, es decir, reemplazamos la Y por I latina y finalizamos con ES. Para aquellos verbos que tienen un final alguno de estos términos que tenemos en este listado, ¿cierto? No vamos a agregar solo la S, sino que también termina con ES. Y algunos casos especiales, como por ejemplo el verbo go and do, ¿cierto? Va a tener también ese final. Y algunos verbos irregulares, como el verbo have o como el conocido verbo to be, ¿cierto? Cambia su forma la palabra en la tercera persona. Now, we also have seen some adverbs in this section, adverbs and expressions of frequency. So we said that we sometimes may use the simple present form, the simple present form with some adverbs to state the frequency where the verb might have the action in the sentence. Okay, some of the most used adverbs that we have seen in classes are the ones that we have here: always, usually, often or often, sometimes, hardly ever, never, etc. Some more that maybe you have noticed. But what is important is that the main place where we can find an adverb of frequency in a sentence is, like in the example here, before the main verb. Before the main verb. If you notice in these two examples, we have the adverb before the main verb. Okay, with the exception of the verb be, where we have to place the adverb after the verb be. So adverbs, the ones that we have in this list, go before the main verb but after the verb be. Okay, that would be one of the rules that we have to remember. And also that the adverbs never and the expression or the adverb as well, hardly ever, can't be used with a negative sentence or in a negative form. So it will be useful to place a negative sentence like this one here with the adverb never, because the adverb never already has a negative connotation. Okay, and also we have seen some expressions of frequency like every day, once a week, twice a month, 3 times a year, etc., where most of the time they go at the end of a sentence. ¿Okay? Entonces, para los adverbios de frecuencia y las expresiones de frecuencia, ¿cierto? Ellos van ubicados, como en los ejemplos acá, antes de un verbo principal, ¿cierto? Antes de un verbo principal, o independiente si es una oración afirmativa o negativa, van antes del verbo principal, pero después del verbo to be. O sea, con el verbo to be tenemos una excepción ahí. Y las expresiones de frecuencia, que son expresiones, ¿cierto?, que nos ayudan a hablar sobre la regularidad con que el verbo se desarrolla, van al final de la oración. Eso a modo general.